And we're back. Working on the weekend. Again. Liking it.
Back it up.
Josh is outside in the sun. This looks pretty fun.
Yeah, man. So, all right, we got a special show all the way from Bulgaria. Krasimir is with us. Welcome to the show, man.
Hey, everybody.
We're very happy to have you on, Krasimir. We've been trying to get you on for a long time because you're a very popular arm wrestler in the United States, and we like to watch you arm wrestle, and also, you know, a lot of people want to talk to you about how you train and what arm wrestling is like in Bulgaria.
So, in Bulgaria, there are about maybe 10 clubs. 10 clubs. And each of the clubs is training differently.
Oh, really?
In my club, we prepare mostly on the table. I give specific only to the beginners, but when they start to pull without pain, we just pull every day. We train sometimes 2-3 times per day. Depends how strong my opponent is. For example, if I train with equal opponent, it's very difficult and you get a lot of pain. But if I train with weaker guys, they catch me with 2 hands in different angles,
sure,
and I'm able to pull more. This way, I'm able to pull 2-3 times per day.
So the intensity really dictates how often you train, or what, you know, like how many times a day you'll train?
How many times I will train depends on who will come at the training.
Right.
If my opponents are weaker, I'm able to train 2 or 3 times per day. But I do this because I'm professional, actually. I don't do anything else. Arm wrestling is my life. Right now I'm a trainer, and I just teach other people how to pull, and I pull 2 or 3 times per day.
So you have an entire day to dedicate to this. So that's definitely changes a lot of things. Yeah.
Yes.
That's amazing.
I have tried to be a personal trainer, to work in the gym, and to pull 2 times per day, but actually it didn't work. I mean, if you want to pull 2-3 times per day, this is all you should do. You should just sleep, eat, and train.
Correct.
This is the way. If you try to work something else, it's not going well.
Does it just take too much energy from your body, or is it
yes?
Okay.
Yes, that's what I mean.
So what's the, you know, one thing that I've thought about is if I did this for a living, if I just did, all I did was arm wrestle, really the only thing I would change is how much I rest, really how much I sleep or whatever. Is that how, what do you think the biggest difference between somebody who has a job, like where they don't do that for a living, versus how you work? Is it rest? Is it how you eat? Or is it something else?
Actually, I think that it's just when you do many things during the day, every little thing takes energy from you, every little thing. And when you go at the training, you're a little bit tired, and it's not the same.
Is it also mental energy as well as physical?
Yes, this is the mostly mental energy, actually. You're not concentrated on your pulling, you're concentrated at other things.
Yeah.
And when you at the table, you're just not focused.
Yeah, it takes so much energy, especially with the smaller details of the sport. The later you get on into it, the small details, they require a lot of mental focus and a lot of attention.
Of course.
Yeah, I think that's really interesting, Krasi. We've talked to quite a few people recently who advocate the same style of training that you do. We talk about, you know, John Brzenk and Bob Brown also believe that you should train on the table every single day, and that this training is better than anything else. And one thing that Bob Brown talked about was that it takes a long time to build up the endurance in your arms to pull every day. And that, so I'm curious about when you start with your beginners, do you have them start off once or twice a week, or do they start doing every day as well?
Actually, the most important thing when you start training like this is your age. Depends on your age.
Okay.
For example, when children come to me, they're able to pull almost all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
They just don't get tired because of the hormones. When you are very young, your testosterone is very high, you recover very fast, and everything comes quicker,
Sure,
faster.
Yeah,
But
so they're already developing in every other way. So it's just kind of a if you add in arm wrestling, they'll just develop with that as well.
yes, adaptation is different to all the people. Some react very fast to this kind of training. Some need a lot more time, and it's very difficult to say. I just see how they react to the training.
Mm-hmm.
If they pain all the time, they don't to rest a little bit. After that, start moving again.
That makes sense. I think you have a good point there with the age factor, because, you know, a lot of times you hear older guys say, I can't do that, I can't pull that much. But I think for us, I'm 46, and I feel like if I started slowly, then I can still pull every day. And I do, you know, I can't always, unlike in Bulgaria, there are many teams here, but they don't practice every night. We don't have teams that meet every day. And because the United States is, you know, it's a big country, people are very spread out. So sometimes it's harder to meet people as often. So we do a lot of stuff with bands on the table, you know, tying them to poles and trying to mimic arm wrestling motion. And I think, you know, little by little, I'm building up the ability to do it every day, but it's not easy.
I can give you an example.
Okay.
I have a friend of mine, Yurdan Sonev. He became third at the world at the 100 kilo class division with right arm.
Mm-hmm.
He's 20 years old. And when he comes to my town, we train every day, 3 times per day.
Mm-hmm.
And I beat him all the time. But the first training is the easiest. And after that, it's a little bit harder.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, we rest 1 day. And the first training, I beat him easier. And the second and the third and the trainings after that are a lot harder for me.
Mm-hmm.
And this is because of the age, because he's younger and he recovers much faster than me.
That makes sense.
So he's able to maintain his strength throughout a longer period of time because of his age. I understand.
And actually now I'm 29 and I feel difference the last 2 years. Until 26-7, I felt that I was recovering faster.
Uh-huh.
Now I feel that I need a little bit more time actually.
Okay.
29 is not so bad. 29 is still young.
No, I don't say it's bad, but I just feel that I need more time than 2 years ago, for example.
So, do you do any kind of weight training at all, or do you stop that altogether?
I stopped the weight training. All I do is pulling. Sometimes,
so nothing. You're not even like, you know, hammer curls or anything like that. No weights.
No. Sometimes I just with bands I just go side pressure.
Mm-hmm.
But when I have sparring partners, I don't do anything else than pulling.
When did you start pulling, and when did you start training this way?
So I start arm wrestling when I was 17 years old.
Okay.
And for how many years?
So that was what, 2005?
Yes, 2005. And 6 years I was training specifics, only specifics.
Mm-hmm.
And I was 1 time world champion and 2 or 3 times European champion.
Mm-hmm.
2011 I stopped all the weightlifting and I focused on the table. So it's about 6 years already only on the table. I had some periods for about a month that I've been lifting also, but just for a month, not more.
When you started, did you do a lot of weights, or have you always been table focused?
When I started, I was only weightlifting. I was training only weightlifting. So
tell me about why you decided to stop lifting weights altogether and focus just on the table.
It's because I had conversation with the great Bulgarian trainer Ivana Badjiev.
Oh, okay. Weightlifting.
Yes. And he changed my mind, actually.
So yeah, he was a weightlifting coach, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So basically, for people who don't know, his philosophy was basically if your goal is to be a good arm wrestler, we'll just say that, then there is really no reason other than arm wrestling being your training in order to get better. Basically, you will adapt to whatever stresses your body's put under, and you should just put yourself under worse stress than your opponent.
Yes. He just changed all my philosophy of the things.
Yeah, over here in North America, for a long time, pulling more than once a week was kind of known as like this you just don't do it because you'll break down faster than you recover. And I remember back in 2014, I did the same thing. I said, well, I think I can pull more than that, so I'm just going to do it and see what happens. And I realized that I can pretty much pull whenever I want to as an arm wrestler. That's what we do. You should be able to pull anytime you like.
Yeah, the thing is that many people think that they should be 100% at every training.
Right.
You don't need this. You just need to feel healthy. If you're healthy, you should pull. Doesn't matter how tired you are.
Correct.
If you're healthy, you should pull. Doesn't matter if you lose or win. You should pull.
This is a very important point, Krasi, because I don't know if you have this problem. I know you said you have many teams in Bulgaria and they all train differently, but a lot of times here you run into practice that's like a small tournament. Everybody wants to win, so everybody's like trying to crush everybody else.
We have the same problem here.
Oh, sure. I bet you do.
Yeah, so it does make it hard, but I mean, so many people that we have spoken to who are very smart in arm wrestling like you. I mean, Engin just posted recently that he is going back to this style of only training on the table. Yeah. And, John Brzezinski, that's what he did his whole career. The only time he ever lifted weights is when somebody asked him to do it for a video, so that's why he did it. And Bob Brown, same thing. And even Todd Hutchings, although he can't train on the table every day with people, all of his training is table-based. So I think that there's a lot of intelligence in this approach, and I think that more people should start doing it. Even though it's bad for me, I want to keep it a secret just between us, but unfortunately... This is a live show, so everybody's watching. All right, let me ask some questions that people are sending in here. Are you going to Zloty Tour?
Yes, I'm preparing.
Very good.
Are you going to be, what weight will you be pulling?
105 kilo class.
Okay, 105 kilos.
231
That's
pounds.
Good. 231 pounds. Yeah, we have a couple of people from the States who are going to be in your class, so they were hoping that you weren't going to be in there. But so, yeah, this is a good question that we get many times. This is from William Sisk, and he's curious about, your diet, if you take any supplements, and how important this is to your training.
The supplements are extremely important, actually, because when I pull 2-3 times per day without supplements, I get a lot more pain. And when I start taking supplements, my arms start to feel a lot better. I'm able to do almost every training without pain. What I'm taking creatine, glutamine, taurine. I don't know the English names, actually. Excuse me.
We know these names. Yeah, we know these names.
BCAA.
Yep.
I like the universal animal pack.
Mm.
Right now I'm taking also universal animal M stack.
I don't know that one. Interesting.
It's similar, but it's a pre-workout.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
What other things? Protein sometimes. Tribulus.
What one do you think makes the biggest impact on you?
Actually, from all the supplements, I like most animal pack.
Yeah.
And creatine.
Yeah. I think most the highest impact I've seen from people is the BCAAs and the creatine. That sounds like those two. It's one of those two usually that people say that makes a big difference for them.
Mm.
Yes, and the other thing that you asked about the food, I eat everything actually. Because, I think that when you lift heavy or you pull heavy, you should eat everything. Your body tells you what you need.
Right.
For example, if you want to lose kilos or to build muscles, you need specific diet. But when you train for strength, I think that you should eat everything. And some fats also.
Yes, I agree. And I don't know if you ever run into this when you're training very hard and things are actually going very well in training. I sometimes actually kind of lose my appetite a little bit. Is there anything, have you ever run into that?
No, actually.
No? You're lucky. So sometimes, if anybody ever does run into that, sometimes like the best thing you can eat is just whatever sounds really good at the time. And it might not always be the best, cleanest food, but if you're training really hard, you need calories.
Actually, there is some point of view that maybe not so good, but the professional sportsman don't care so much if they're 100% healthy. They want to be strong.
It's correct. Yeah, sometimes to be the best arm wrestler you can be doesn't mean you're going to be the healthiest human being you can be.
Yes.
Unfortunately.
Actually, all the things that we're taking, like supplements, they're not good for the health, but we need them.
Right.
Yeah, it's a decision that you have to make as a professional sportsman. I recently watched a documentary about this guy Rich Piana, who is a bodybuilder who just died. And he talked every day. He would wake up, he takes a human growth hormone and steroids and stuff like that, and he has to take testosterone.
I can tell you about steroids before you ask me.
Yeah.
I don't know, and I don't care how many people believe me, but I have never tried steroids in my life. I said to myself when I was very young, Krasi, you should not take steroids until 30 years of age. You should leave your body to see what's the maximum you can achieve. After that, maybe I will try. I don't know. But until now, I have never tried.
Yeah. No, I haven't tried either. I'm 46, so I'm waiting a little bit longer than you. Sometimes, this is the number one drug for me is Coke. I drink this stuff.
Sponsored.
But, all right, let me get some more questions in here for you, Krasi. We have a question from Tomas.
Let me just say something.
Oh, go ahead.
My name is not Krasi, it's Krasi. With S.
Say it one more time.
Krasi?
Say it one more time for me.
Krasi, yes, Krasi.
Yes.
Just Krasi.
Krasi. Okay, there we go. Good, excellent. That's important. Yeah, it's difficult. There's so many languages in the world. Everybody pronounces the same letters differently, so you never know exactly what the right name is. So Tomas, who's in Chile, he has an arm wrestling question about when you have somebody who is a specialist in the top roll, what techniques do you use to try to secure the hook, especially when the guy has a very long arm?
Well, if you're a hook puller and you pull against top roller, the most important things are two things. How strong your pushing is, and how strong your wrist is. And this is that's why I have difference in my arms against top rollers. With my right, I'm a lot stronger with the pushing. That's why I'm good against top rollers. But with left, my pushing is not so strong, and I'm not so good against top rollers. So this is what you need. Pushing, strong pushing, and strong wrist. Your strong. If your triceps is stronger, your wrist may be not so good, but you would be able to curl.
Does the pushing of the side pressure and the tricep, does it kind of push them off of their rotation a little bit and off of side pressure?
Yes, yes. You push direct. You push side and down. If you push just, it's not triceps. It's just here.
Right.
But when you go to push down, it's right down here. And this is what is very effective against top rollers, to push him down.
Right. So the knife of your hand here, it kind of pushes through their rotation a bit and opens up their bicep to kind of have them palm up as you're coming through sideways. Makes sense.
Yeah, it does make sense. Here's another question about alcohol. Do you drink alcohol?
Oh, did you break up a little bit? No.
I have been drunk 5 times in my life, and the last one was maybe 6-7 years ago. Yeah,
I don't drink either except for Coke, as I already said. So that's about it for me. Another top row question. A lot of people ask these questions when we talk to people like you who are so good in the hook. If you can't stop a top roll with finger pressure, especially with an opponent who hits really fast, do you have an idea for this problem?
The other option is dead wrist. But not so nice option, but this is what you can try also.
If that if that situation did come up, would you try to go for the straps, possibly?
Yes, of course you need strap.
Right.
Actually, this is a wall in arm wrestling. If you're a hook puller and you're pulling against top rower, you should get to the straps.
I understand.
John, let's watch this match that he had with LaVon in 2016, because it's a strap match, since we're talking about it. I love this match very much, Kasi. I was very impressed by your technique in this. And also another match we're going to show in a little while, it's the same thing. I think you have a very good resilience. Like, you can absorb many hits and many techniques and still survive. And I think it's a good lesson for us, to watch, and also to try to learn how to do this. Can you see the video?
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
And I can tell you what I was thinking.
Sure.
Yes, please.
In the first match, I was very concentrated, and I did all I had to do. I was just trying to curl my wrist and to go sideways. When I stopped him, I knew that I would beat him.
Right.
And I was just waiting for my moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it looked like with the straps helping support your wrist a little bit, it was kind of allowing your arm to take over the match a little more.
But here, after the first foul,
yeah,
I made a mistake. The second time, I tried to push him down without side pressure, and I lost some of my control with the wrist. There are some pullers against which is better to go down, but against other it's better to go sideways. Depends where they're attacking. For example, LaVon is going back but also to the side. And against this kind of pullers, you should go more sideways. If he's going just back, then you should go down.
Okay. Yeah, and at this point,
good,
I was not feeling very good because I had not so much control like the first round. But
right, your wrist was a little flatter, but
you can see that I think you frustrated him. He had a very strong hit in the beginning of the match, but by this point, it seems like his endurance had dropped lift a good amount, and his hits did not have the same power in them. So I think he started to get frustrated and move around too much, I think. It's a great match. I love that match, man. LaVon is very, he's so big, and you're also big, but his hand is gigantic. When he grabs your hand almost disappeared.
Yeah, and guys like that, their hands are, his hand is big, his arm is really thick, but you don't really realize how long their arm is, too, because it looks more proportionate, but his arm is very long.
His fist is like my head.
That's another way to put it, yeah.
All right, before we watch another good video I want to show you, there's a few more questions coming in. This guy, Travis, wants to know, I think I know what you're going to say, but I'm going to ask you anyway. What do you think about the idea of capping or not capping? Is this something that you concentrate on?
If I'm pulling against top roller, I catch low.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm pulling against hook puller, I catch high.
Okay. Mm-hmm. That's a very good answer.
When I'm pulling against top roller, I concentrate more on the down two fingers. But when I'm pulling against hook puller, I concentrate my strength here up.
Okay, so your maybe your point of attack is a bit different once the match stops on those people.
Yes,
okay.
Yes, it is different. The first years of my career, I was going just down and side, but the last 2-3 years, actually after Todd Hutchins beated me and Ivan Matushenko beated me, I realized that I need some biceps and rotation, and I started to train a lot more my biceps and rotation. I realized that what I was trying against Todd Hutchins was not effective. And that's why I changed my style a little bit.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So let me ask you a question about that. Since you don't do the weight training, do you have like agreements with your partners that you will work on, a certain angle tonight, that kind of thing? So like if you feel like you have one weak angle, is that something that you will try to focus on for a few weeks?
For example, I'm thinking about the competition. For example, right now at Nemirov, my main opponent will be Vitaly Oletin.
Mm-hmm.
And what I need to beat him is mostly wrist. And almost every training I start with wrist. And after that I can train something else.
Mm-hmm.
So do you, is what you're saying is that you start off your training with whatever focus you have at the moment. So you train what your focus is when you're most fresh?
Yes.
Okay.
And for example, if I have pain on that place, then it's possible to replace it with another.
So when you mentioned that for certain opponents you will focus on your bottom two fingers more, is this a drill that you will do in practice as well?
Yes. Actually, at every practice, I'm thinking about some of my opponents. I'm preparing for somebody.
How does that change for you when you're thinking about a tournament versus maybe a one-on-one super match?
For example, at the tournament, there may be 2 or 3 strong opponents. And then I will concentrate on 2 or 3 times of pulling. If I'm pulling one-on-one, I will concentrate only on one thing.
Right. Do you find it a bit more, is it easier to kind of get those little aches and pains while you're training for that one style, or do you think that the training for multiple easier? Yeah,
I think it's better to concentrate on one thing. And the last Vendetta I put with Tim Bresnan, I was so disappointed because I thought that I know what to do against him,
right?
But I was totally wrong at my trainings actually. And
from what I remember, was that a little short notice, that match? Did you not have a lot of time to prepare for that one?
No, this was not the problem.
Okay.
Maybe it was a little bit excuse, but not the main reason.
Mm-hmm.
The main reason was because I was thinking that he will go more sideways, and I was concentrating more here.
Sure.
But after the match, I realized that I needed a lot more pushing and more wrist.
Yeah, I personally apologize for that one because I was training with Tim during that. he was very worried.
He's just great puller. He's just great puller.
Yes.
Yeah, he always surprises people. He's one of those guys. People think, oh, he's starting to get old. Maybe he's not so good anymore, or maybe they watch him when he pulled Marcio and Marcio beat him, but they don't realize that Tim pulls injured a lot.
That match was really close.
Mm-hmm.
And if it was WAF rules, Tim was going to win, I think, actually.
I agree.
Yeah. One thing that always happens with Tim too is that, like you said, you have an idea and then you pull the guy and you realize, oh, that didn't feel like what I thought it was going to. Everybody's kind of a little surprised at his angles. How they're pretty unique.
And that's why I don't know if you remember, but I beat him 2 months later at Nemirov.
Right, at Zlati, yes. I do remember.
There's another thing that he was a little bit tired because he had one tough match with Yoshinobu at the qualifications.
Oh.
But anyway, I was feeling better at Nemirov against him than in Vegas.
Sure.
So LaVon is watching right now. He says hello.
Hey.
Yeah. So
it's Zloty.
Yes, it's Zloty, exactly. Here's an interesting question from Chris Myers. This is something that we see frequently in videos over here, and we always wonder about it. How do you feel about teammates from the same country, giving up a match so that another person from their country will have an easy time to the finals?
Well, I understand this because if they're training together, they know who is the stronger guy. So I'm completely fine with that. I understand.
Yeah, I think it's something that I think sometimes people feel like it's like they really want this one guy to win, and so that's why they lay down. But I think, honestly, it's what you said. They already know who is going to win, so instead of trying to tire each other out, they just move on to the next match. I'm okay with it too. I mean, I feel like every match is your own. So if you want to win or if you want to try to lose, that's up to you.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. There's a lot of questions. I'm trying to get them all in here, man. Everybody wants to talk to you, so that's how it goes. All right, so a lot of people are asking about your predictions for this Vendetta that's coming up, obviously, and all of the matches are very, very interesting to us. I don't know if you have some that you are really looking forward to watching that you want to talk about.
Actually, may I shock a lot. I may shock a lot of people with my words here.
Okay, that's good.
But I think that 2 of the matches are mismatches.
Okay.
Oh, really? Okay.
For example, Dave Jeffy against Trubin. Dave Jeffy is maybe the best puller against hook pullers. His biceps is extremely strong and his rotator. But I don't think that his wrist is good enough against Toprollers. Travis Bajan took his wrist several times. And Dmitry Silaev at A1 almost took his wrist. And that's why Pushkar took his wrist very easy. And that's why I think that Rubin will take his wrist and will beat him 6-0. I'm sorry if
No. That's predictions, man. There's plenty of people saying Chafee's going to win 6-0 too. So it's like, it's one of those things. People like, I think that's an interesting perspective. When I see the pictures of Dmitry right now, he looks gigantic, first of all. And second of all, it makes me wonder, is he going to get tired quickly because he has put on so much weight so quickly?
I don't care about this, how he looks. And for example, if the match goes in hook, Dave Chaffee will smash him. Just it's the matter of styles, according to me.
Yeah, right. It's hard to hook Dmitry if he wants. Yeah.
Babaev beat Dmitry in hook. I think that Babaev has no chance against Chefi. Just it's the matter of styles, according to me. Chefi is extremely good against hook pullers. Very strong biceps and rotator, but not so good against Toprollers, from what I saw so far. And
I think
Dmitry is strong everywhere. He is strong inside and outside.
Yes, we have seen that in his match with Michael Todd, the super match he had. I was very impressed by the number of techniques that he had and how strong he was at different angles. I agree with you there.
So the other match,
how about Michael Todd? Yeah, go ahead.
The other match, Michael Todd and Pushka, I think that it will be also 6-0 match. I think that Michael Todd will win 6-0.
Oh wow!
I don't see how Pushka is going to win this match. Actually, I don't. I have to say that I respect Michael Todd, but I don't like the way he pulls. I don't find this like an arm wrestling. It's very uncomfortable, and according to me, it's not fair because every technique should be beaten by any other technique. But the way he pulls, the only way you should beat him is to climb and push, climb and push.
Right.
And for example, if you're a hook puller, you're not able to do this. And that's why I think that it's not fair. And I think that Pushkar will not be able to handle this.
That's a subject that, well, many times we talked about the King's move on this show. And I would say there's a lot of people that agree with you about that. And, we talk about Crazy George and Seplenkov and also Michael Todd, obviously. And people go back and forth about whether it should be allowed or whether it's fair or not. But you're very right. It's an extremely difficult technique to deal with unless you know exactly which angle to go.
And there's another thing also. Michael Todd looks great, and he gives not so nice example to the young people who are trying to pull, I think. I said this to him, and I don't know. This king pull should not be allowed according to me.
Actually, I talked to Michael Todd earlier today, and he said that you would say that. That's what he said. But he was very curious about who you would predict to win. So I think that he'll be surprised by your prediction as well. Yeah. What about talking about Babaev? What about Babaev and Hutchings? What do you think?
Whoa, this is, I don't know really what
I
to say
know.
about.
This one's a crazy one, isn't it?
Yeah, this is maybe will be the most interesting one. But I see several ways of this match. The first one, maybe the first option is to be 6-0 for Babaev. I'm not sure if Hutchins will be strong enough to stop him. But if he stops him in the first round, it may go 6-0 for Todd Hutchins.
Right. I agree.
So I really don't know what to expect from this one. If Todd Hutchins is strong enough to stop the match, he will win for sure. But I'm not sure if he will stop him. So yes. I would say 4-2 for Hutchins.
Yeah, it reminds me when this match reminds me a lot of when Devin Larratt pulled Richard Lupke's a few years ago, where people said, well, if Devin stops it, he'll beat him, but can he stop Richard from going sideways? It feels exactly the same as that.
Yes. But I would say 4-2 for Hutchins. I think that Babaev will take him once or twice, but I don't think that it will be enough for the whole match.
Yeah, I think the biggest difference between those two is I think Rustam's hand's a bit stronger. I think I think
a lot stronger actually.
I think not enough people talk about how strong Rustam's hand is.
Actually, Rustam's hand is one of the strongest, if not the strongest hand in the arm wrestling world.
I agree. I think his hand is unbelievably strong.
That's cool.
So the other match is Tim Breston versus Gennady.
That's interesting too.
Yes.
Yeah. What do you think about this one?
Well, maybe there is option 6-0 for Tim. This is one option. But also, if Gennady stops the match, it will go the other way. So I'm not sure how strong they will be. And I don't know actually. For this one, I don't know what to say.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, so much of this prediction, it's like we are sort of making some guesses about everybody and their health and how strong they are right now, whether there are injuries. So sometimes there are things that you can't predict, and you may end up being on the wrong side of every prediction. But
I will say 3-3.
Perfect prediction.
I agree.
Everybody wins.
I agree with that. Well, I think that of all the matches, I think that one is the one that's most likely to end 3-3. That's what I think.
So another match. Was there another match?
There is Tiete is going against somebody that I don't know. I can't remember his name.
Piotr Pershevich. Well, I don't know from this match also what to expect. They had some wars in Vegas.
Oh, okay.
I don't know actually, but maybe the home ground will help a little bit the Polish guy, Piotr. Maybe
yeah, that's possible. The crowd will be for him, you know that. So he'll get a lot of cheers.
Actually, by the years, I understand how important is to pull on home ground. I think that it gives you a lot.
Oh, I think so too. I definitely agree. Michael Todd is now watching. So, Mike, he just predicted you're going to win 6-0. So, hopefully you can prove him right. You'll see him over there. Here's another question for you, sir, and it's somebody wants to train with you. He wants to know if you are in Sofia in Club Adrenaline.
Right now, I live in a city. It's not city actually; it's small town, Blagoevgrad. It's about 100 kilometers from Sofia.
That's where Worlds was last year, right? And the year before last.
Yes.
Yeah. I like that town actually. It's not so bad. I mean, Bulgaria. I think we're going back there in 2020 for Worlds or 2021. I don't remember, but I like that city. It was nice. The people there are very friendly. So how about let's watch this other match, John, with Sasha, because I think it's also a very great match. I love to watch that. I watched it at least 10 times.
Yeah, I was talking to Josh earlier, and I said, I think we've watched this before, but maybe, I don't know. It's definitely worth watching again. This was a good one.
To me, Sasha is a very impressive arm wrestler. I mean, his technique.
Oh, poor Josh. He's breaking up a little bit.
Yeah, well, that kind of... am I breaking up? I'll shut up.
Yeah, a little bit. You're doing...
Anyway, we watched
you're better. You're back. You're back. Oh, that's the wrong
I mean, I was saying Sasha's technique for me would destroy my arm if I did it.
Yeah, it's not an easy one, that's for sure.
Well, it's like he's driving a pole into the ground the way he hits. It's crazy. Yeah, this is a beautiful match, man.
You both can see that?
Yeah.
Cool. And Sasha rotates so hard from the top of his hand too. Like even when he's going sideways, he's not just going underneath.
So powerful. Yeah, look at that. That's incredible power to stop that hit.
I was not able to use my index finger here and my rotation.
Right.
Because I had a match at the Nationals with him. And I beat him fast. But after the match, we had one sparring match. In that match, he beat me and hurted my chest. And after that, I was not able to train for about a month. I was training but with pain. And this match here, I was not able to use my index finger and my rotation. I tried to hit fast in the beginning, but it didn't work out. And after that, immediately I went like this, but with zero control here.
Yeah, it seemed to me like you were just hitting with that part of your arm and trying to rotate down a little bit, but just really parked at the back of the pad and trying to just, you know.
For a month I was not training good, and I'm very happy because I won this match. And after this match, my arm got a lot more sore. And for another 2 months, I was not able to train good. And yes, and
I believe it.
At the Europeans, I couldn't pull actually. I tried, but I had a lot of pain and I couldn't pull.
I believe that his style is so powerful, it's like getting punched in the elbow over and over and over again. You know?
The thing is that he started training, he started to weightlifting when he was very, very small. He started when he was 3 years old.
Holy cow.
Yes, and when he came, I don't know if you know that, but he's my student. I teach him how to pull.
Right.
And after a year and a half, we had some argues, and we started to train separate. But when he came to me to train, he was already very strong, and he just needed some technique, and he became a lot stronger.
Yes, I like to, because I'm a 90 kilogram puller, I like to watch him and Prudnik the most out of all the guys in 90 kilograms. And because both of their techniques I find very fascinating. They're very different, obviously, but to me they're, you know, I'm just impressed by watching them. Both of them, they have a very good fighting spirit. Sasha is...
I can say something about their match and their qualities at all. I don't know. Did you? I guess you saw their match from the Worlds.
Yes, it was
the
amazing.
Right arm. And Sasha is a guy who feels the pulling very well. If his opponent made a mistake, he takes the chance and win. Prudnik has so many options. He's able to pull here, everywhere. But I don't think that he doesn't feel the game so good. He's not feeling so much what's happening there.
Maybe he doesn't feel the opportunities when they arise.
Yes. He could win in the qualification and in the final also, but he lost the matches. He is strong everywhere, but he doesn't know how to use the chances that he gets during the match. And Sasha gets when he feel a chance, he just take it and
right. Sometimes that's all it takes. That's such a big difference in this game.
Yes.
Here's a question coming in from Russia. I cannot read Cyrillic, so I cannot tell you this person's name, but he's interested in, you know, your injuries that you've had over the years, and if you have any special tips or ways that you use to recover.
I had pain with my left almost all the time when I was training. For example, I'm training arm wrestling from 12 years. Maybe about 9 years of this 12 was with pain. I've been training my left with pain almost all the time, actually.
Said like a true arm wrestler.
With my right, I had pain, I don't know, just maybe a few months. My right has been well almost all the time, and that's why I achieved a lot more with my right. This year is the first year of my career when I got pain with my right and I was not able to train good. So, and what I can, actually, I'm not specialist in this area. And maybe the best thing you can do when you have pain is just to don't train that area at all. Just leave it for several weeks, and after that, try at the table. If you feel that it's still sore, leave it for another several weeks.
So that's an interesting idea. The person who founded the martial art judo, he said that. He basically said whenever you have an injury in one part of your body, it teaches you to use the other parts effectively. And on the other hand, you know, there are a lot of people that say when you have an injured area, you should still train that area, but maybe 10 times lighter. So you just do very slight pressure, very light pressure in that area, and that helps it to heal. But it still is a mystery. I don't think anybody knows the correct answer.
Yeah, I can tell you about my left. For about a year and a half, I had pain when I was rotating.
Okay.
And I was training 2 times more with left than my right, because, for example, when it gets cold, it starts to hurt more. That's why when I go to the table, I pull left, right, left. I rest for 3 minutes and again left, right, left. And I was doing this for a year and a half, and the progress was 0. And then I stopped pulling for 1 month. 1 month just weightlifting. And after that month, when I pulled, I didn't feel pain. And I started to train less with left. I was pulling, but when I was starting to feel pain, I was just leaving it. And like this, it became a lot better. And after 7 or 8 months, I was able to beat Matushenko. The previous year, he beat me at the Europeans and at the Worlds. And the next year, when I was feeling good, I was able to win Europeans.
So maybe taking a step back from the hard table training, and the weightlifting kind of allowed the movement and maybe a little more blood flow without damaging.
Yes.
Right.
The thing is that I was thinking that if I train the sword area will help me, but it didn't.
Right. Well, every injury feels a little bit better once it's loose and all that kind of stuff, and it starts to get a little cold, and it's like, oh, it hurts again. I better do what I did before to make it feel better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's tough, you know, for, you know, us in the United States, our nationals is in April, and then Worlds is in September or October. So there's not large periods of time to rest in between either one. So sometimes it's hard to say, I'm going to rest for a month, month and a half and see what happens. And if it's still sore at the end, you feel like you're wasting the time. I wish I had a magic answer.
I don't understand this. I have never rest after the competition for more than a week. Never.
No. Right. I agree.
I don't think that it's good idea.
I mean, when you have an injury, like you said, you took 1 month off.
Yes. But when you are injured at arm wrestling, you could still lift weights in the gym without pain. So I think that you should do it.
Yeah, so basically you're saying even if you're resting one area, don't rest your whole arm, do something.
Yes.
Okay. So the upcoming year, the rest of 2017, 2018, do you have any special goals or opponents that you will try to focus on?
Actually, all I try to do the last several years is to win Zloty 2, the open class. Last year, I was feeling really in my best shape, but I needed strap match against Pushkar.
Right.
And I couldn't sleep.
His hand is really very good. Yeah.
It's really hard to get to the straps with Pushkar because his hand is extremely strong. And this is something that I don't know. It's very hard part for me to reach the straps with some pullers.
Yeah, his hand is so strong, and his direction, he's just going side. So he's like, if he gets a little bit of his hand going and he continues that motion, it's almost impossible to get away.
And his arm is very long.
Yes.
Very long arm. Extremely uncomfortable for me. So
I wonder
what I'm
if
trying to do is to beat the heavy guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of them are gigantic, but you do very well with them. I wonder what will happen this year, since even if Pushkar enters right hand, he should be pretty tired from his Vendetta.
No, nobody from the pullers that are pulling Vendettas will compete at Zloty with right.
I agree.
Well, maybe Hutchings will. He's crazy. I could see him doing it. So, do you have any predictions for Zloty besides your weight class? Do you think there will be any surprises over there?
I don't know actually. At the heavyweight category, there will be many good pullers, and I don't know what to expect actually. I really have no idea what to expect.
I know you said that you don't take steroids. Is it something do you get upset about other people taking them, or is it something that you don't think about?
Actually, Igor, about a year ago, said that this year there will be doping test at Nemirov.
Right, I remember.
Right.
And I was very happy about that, because I think that the steroids give you about 5-7%, which is a lot.
It's a lot in our game. Yeah.
And I think that my chance goes really high if there's doping test there. But there will be no doping test, so I prefer every competition to be with doping test.
Me too. Yeah, I wish they would do it like they do in, UFC or Olympic athletes, where they test you year round. They have people come show up at your house and knock on your door and test you at random times. I think this would be good for our sport, but it's very expensive, so it probably won't happen. Right now, I think, many people believe, you are a good exception, and there are other people who also are very strongly against using steroids, even though they are top-level arm wrestlers. But there are many people that believe you have to use it. You have to do, many different kinds of drugs in order to have success on the world level. But I think you set a good example, for people that's not true, and it is possible to reach the highest level without using this stuff.
Yes, just many people don't believe in themselves.
Right.
And that's why they say, oh, no, you cannot reach this without steroids. No. But it's possible.
So, can I ask you a couple more questions about arm wrestling in Bulgaria? I know you said you do this full time, which, first of all, here is very rare. Maybe there are one or two people that do that. So your team, do you guys receive funding from a government agency, or how do you pay your bills, for example?
In Bulgaria, if you become world champion, you will take about $5,000 to $6,000. And for European champion, you take about $4,000-5,000. And for example, if you become European and world champion, you will be able to live from this, because it's a lot cheaper here.
Okay.
Many things are cheaper. So if you're the best in the world, you can live from this here.
So I was I did not talk to him myself, but several people talked to Roman Jambuli at Worlds this year, where he did not pull, and he told them that he makes more money from coaching the athletes, because if they win, he gets a percentage of their winnings. So if he has 5, 6, 7 people who get a medal, he makes more money than if he competes by himself.
Yes, here the government also gives percent to the trainer, 30% for each competitor.
Oh, okay.
But so far we don't get this money.
I see. How many guys and women train with you on your team?
Actually, I live here in Blagoevgrad from 3-4 months. Before that, I was training in my hometown. And my hometown, we were just 3-4 serious people, and the other were just juniors, small kids. And right now here, also not so many. There were many pullers here before, but now they are not pulling anymore. So here we are not so many also. Maybe 3 people serious and the other is just juniors.
I see. Yeah, I mean, it's like probably it's like that everywhere. Arm wrestling is a challenging sport for people because, as you said, you spend many years in pain, and sometimes you can't do other things because you're doing the arm wrestling, and it's not a sport for everybody. So that's not a big surprise.
Yeah, it's hard to get some people to stay. That's for sure.
Yeah. So, one more question about the Bulgarian nationals. How many competitors show up for that?
Well, not so many actually. The last year there were not so many. The previous was a lot more people. There were, but let's say about 10 to 15 competitors in each class.
Okay.
Yeah, so I mean, it's interesting, you know,
in Bulgaria there are about 5 to 600 people competing.
That's not too, I mean, I think it's still a little bit bigger than ours. You know, we have a lot of people that arm wrestle, but we also have competing nationals.
Yeah.
Only one national championships qualifies you for worlds, but because there's another one, sometimes people don't go to the USAF, which is the world qualifier. So sometimes the numbers will be smaller. And also, there is a problem right now in the United States and North America in general, where the best pullers do not want to go to worlds because they can't win money. Our government does not pay us for winning, so instead they, you know, like WAL or Zloty or the PAL, that's where they would rather go, where they can get paid.
I want to say something to Devan Orat. I am very disappointed because he refused the match with Tsiplenko.
Ah, yes. Yeah.
Me too.
Me too.
I agree.
Yeah, me too.
I don't care how much money they offered him. He should go and pull.
Right, and I agree. And when I heard that, I thought that too. And one, I mean, we're not, obviously none of us are slaves. We don't have to do anything we don't want to do. But he also did talk a little bit of smack against Denis Tsiplenkov.
Yes.
That makes it very difficult to say no when, you know, if an opportunity comes up. If, you know,
the whole world wanted to see this match.
yes.
And he said that he wanted to pull, and after it, he rejected. He should just pull.
I agree.
I agree too. When I heard that the match wasn't going to happen, the first thing I thought was that Tsiplenkov looked a little bit thin and maybe still sick from, you know, not fully recovered from his sickness. I thought that was the explanation, and when I found out that it was because it was money, I was very disappointed too.
Yeah, I think it's hard. I think it's hard to have words about somebody and then reject the opportunity. That's a little difficult.
But you are right. Nobody here is a slave, and Devin is allowed to do whatever he wants. But I think all of us really wanted to see this match, and so it's natural for us to be disappointed, especially when there was some trash talk. Yeah. All right, before we let you go, man, let me ask this one more question because it's a good one, and I know you probably want to go to sleep. But this is a hook question. So, and I don't know if you can even answer this, but it's a question about your first movement in a hook. And maybe this changes for you depending on the opponent, but this person is asking about, do you do like a lat drag, or do you focus on side and down or forward, or what would you say is your first move in a hook usually?
So, depends if my opponent is weaker than me, or if he's the same level.
Mm-hmm.
And depends also if he's going top row or if he's going hook. There are 4 variations. So if he's top rower and he's weaker than me, I would just go to push him fast. If he's top rower and is strong almost as me,
mm-hmm.
I would just go here for a position. I would not go directly to the pad, because if I try to go directly, I will lose my wrist. I will just go and try to curl here high.
Okay.
And the other thing, if he's hook puller, I will catch him high. And if he's weaker with me, than me, I will just go directly to curl him like this.
So go towards your corner rather than just go straight side.
Yeah.
Okay.
But if he's almost as me, I will not attack in the beginning. I will just go and try to go here up. I will just go for a position.
So basically, you just want to get a good position and lock in at that
yes.
point.
For example, against hook pullers, if you are hook puller, the best thing you can do is the way Todd Hutchins pulls. His movement is extremely effective against hook pullers. He just stay very high and use everything: biceps, rotation, and sides.
Maybe he will do that with Rustam. We will see.
He will try for sure.
Yeah,
he will try for sure. So, Krasi, this has been very great, man. Thank you very much for coming on. I think I learned a lot. I know other people did too. It was a very big pleasure for us, and I wish you a lot of luck in Zlati. Hopefully, we'll see you over in Turkey next year.
Thank you, guys. It was nice for me also.
Yes, it was very fun. Thanks, Krasi. Yeah.
Yes. There it is. All right, everybody. Have a great night. We'll see you soon.
Peace.